Welcome to the More Podcast, M-O-R-E exclamation point. Welcome to our podcast where we want more of Him. We want all that God has for us. We're not just satisfied going to church on Sunday. We want more.
We don't claim to be biblical scholars. We're just two best friends inviting you on our journey as we share stories of how God moves in our everyday lives, the lives of others, and the lives of those in the Bible. We're excited you're here. Well, hello, more podcasters. How are you? They always like, how's she on the count of sin, right? I never know until the moment. But hello, podcasters. We are so happy to have you here. And by we, I'm talking about, of course, myself, Delane, and
Jennifer,
a.k.a.
Sissy.
Yes, because we...
And G-Money. I think we
G-Money. Yes, we did. We gave him
G-Man.
I like G-Man.
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 I'll take it.
Will you take it?
My nephew Gavin's
take it.
G-Money. So,
Well, I'm also G-Money, and I was before Gavin. So
well, you are G-Man now. So
That's right.
I hate to break it to
That's right. You are older, so
are
you
G-Man.
can claim that. So we are so excited. We are still in our Women of Grace series, and we are having so much fun. It's always great, I think, to talk to people in this community. And I want to do a quick shout out to Mary Gail Anderson, who messaged us and said that the other morning, she had been up since 3:50 something in the morning listening to this podcast. And y'all, I got to tell you, that has to be only from the Lord, because I don't know that people
I wonder
just
if it
wake
put her
up.
to sleep.
Well, I don't. It probably
the only way
could've.
she could fall.
Like I can sometimes. It's Andy Griffith for me. If I'm watching, if I want to go to sleep to something, I'll put on Andy Griffith, and y'all, I mean, like 2 minutes in, I'm out, right, and I'll wake up like several episodes later. So let's hope we did not put Mary Gail to sleep. But definitely we are so grateful for her listening in and just sending us a shout out, and for Ronnie Spears, not Ronnie Spears, her maiden Anderson now. Thank you. She was a Spears when anyway, maiden name. But Ronnie for letting Mary Gail know about our podcast. We're thankful for that. We have a wonderful guest today, right?
We do. I'm so excited. We have Peightyn Blasidell.
Yes.
We're so excited to have you, well known in the community. So many of our listeners know you, so they're going to be excited to hear what you have to say today. I'm so excited. Payton came into our life.
Yes.
Went to school with my son,
Yes.
but I didn't know you then really until we started doing ministry together. And then it's like, we're just besties. We've known each other our whole life, it seems like.
We
So we love you and your baby and your husband. Thank you so much for being here today.
Y'all are so sweet. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Typically, we're on a Tuesday, but you're giving up your Friday night for us. So thank you for that. We appreciate it.
That's right. So you said that the baby is where tonight? Because
She's with her nanny.
Oh,
So they are two peas in a pod.
So much fun there.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I can't even imagine. I can't imagine. So that's your mom, right? Nani is your mom.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to make sure it's not your grandmother.
Yeah.
But that it's your mama, and I just can't even imagine. So they're giving up a basketball night, right? Are they still? Oh, mercy!
I think they're still doing basketball
for the
maybe.
Gross family to give up a basketball game. I mean, I'm telling you, Davelyn is up there.
Yep.
She is high ranking.
That woman's crazy about that child. Let me tell you.
What a sweet name. Where did you come up with that name, Davelyn?
I have to give props to my mom. So Dave is part of David Mandrill, which is, he's my mom's dad, and he was killed in the line of duty, and so and then Lynn is my mom's middle name. So
oh, sweet! I didn't know that.
Yes, and then her middle name's James, so that was also part of David's name as well. And so whenever she got pregnant with my brother Dylan, she said, like, if it was a boy, it was going to be between a couple names, Dylan or Bryson, with James. And then if it was a girl, she was probably going to name Davelyn James. Well, Dylan's obviously a boy. And so then my dad got to pick my name. So here we are with Payton.
That's right.
But I told him, I was like, I've never heard of that. Can I please steal it?
Yes, that is such
So I snatched
beautiful.
it.
I love it.
well, and what a beautiful legacy, right?
Yes.
What a beautiful legacy that is, because he was he's a good man and did a lot of good for this community, and we're so grateful for him and grateful for that sweet baby being a part of that legacy, being a part of that. So have you heard about the game that we play before we start? So we play a would you rather game, okay?
Yeah.
So we're going to let you pick.
Just blindly pick.
Okay.
Yes, just blindly
I wish
pick.
you could
Just make it good.
Yeah,
Good.
make it good.
Okay.
Yes,
I
good.
hope I don't disappoint. Here we are. I don't know what you
That-
do.
okay.
That one.
Okay, that one. All right, here we go. Would you rather, get your pen
I
ready?
may have to do a
there,
Bible story
G-Man.
on this one because I saw a little bit of it.
Would you rather show hospitality like Lydia or generosity like the widow with 2 coins? Hospitality or generosity?
Is there a wrong answer there? I, feel
I don't
like there's
think
not.
there is a wrong answer. I don't think there is a wrong answer.
Generosity or what now?
Or hospitality. Hospitality. I gotta look again.
Which one can I spell?
Well, that's why I turned it back over again. I had to turn it back over. Or you could say, would you rather like Lydia or like the widow? Whichever one.
I used to be in spelling bees, and now I have to
I
Google
know,
everything
I
when
know.
I.
Listen, that was the
Gotcha.
only subject I was good at, and it didn't continue after middle school, like elementary school. And my mom and I was like, dang it.
I know what happened. Yeah, and then you get the mom brain, and you really don't get those cells back again. They kind of just fade away, and then you just come up with other survival skills. As a young mom,
I say a saying, I'm smarter at other things now.
yes, exactly.
I grew a baby. If I don't spell, it's fine.
Exactly. I think you earned that right after you've grown a pair of lungs.
Yeah.
I think
Yes.
you've earned that right. Okay. So on the count of 3, we're going to all reveal our answers. We always don't show them because somebody in the room,
He cheats if you don't
he
show
likes
it.
to cheat. If
He'll
you
take
let him
your
see it.
answer.
Yes, he will take your answer.
It's crazy to get accused of every week.
You'll never live it down.
Never,
know where it came
He
from.
really doesn't cheat, but we just don't want to give him the opportunity to.
Correct. We want him to be
let's
pure
fix it.
in heart when he answers. All right, you ready? 3, 2,
Yes.
1.
Okay.
We all would
Oh,
generosity.
All right.
All right.
I think
All
it-
right.
Gunnar
This
don't
just
want to do
checks
the
out.
cooking.
All right,
That's what
Mr.
it
G
is.
Money.
That's
Yeah.
really, I don't want to do the cooking. I don't want you staying in my house too long. I want you out.
Okay.
If I could just give you $1 and go on your way, that's a lot better to me.
Okay, so
Okay.
what's
Sounds
the
like
rule?
my husband.
My grandmother had a rule about visitors, and this was my dad's mom, and lovely woman, but she had a rule about visitors, and that included family, that included her own children, and it was, you can visit me, but after 3 days. I mean, I remember her saying this to me when I'm old enough to remember.
Yeah.
You can visit me, but like fish, after 3 days, you got to go. And I'm like, wow, okay, thank you, Grandma. So anyway, tell me about this generosity. What's the thing? I mean, how long can
That's
people
it.
come and stay with you? Can Jennifer and I come over
Yeah, you
and
can
visit?
come over.
But he's not going to feed us. He's not going to be hospitable.
I can feed.
You can cook. I know you can cook.
I can cook.
You sound like Zach
But
when you were
what's your
saying,
timing?
let me
Is
just
there
give
gonna
you
be like
$1.
a timer on the microwave
My
that
timing
beeps and
is,
says, time to go?
I don't know, maybe if the sun goes down, you can leave.
He's going to invite us over in the
Gunner.
wintertime at 4:35,
Yeah.
and when it gets dark by 5
Well,
No,
o'clock.
you
if
guys-
Kinsey's there, then we're going to be there late because me and Kinsey can do some
That's
talking.
right. That's right.
Kinsey
can do some talking.
talking in
Kinsey
general.
can-
So if
And
Kinsey's
yes.
over, we're going to be a while.
All right. So tell us, you said hospitality as well, Payton. So you
Yes.
and Jennifer all said hospitality. Tell me about that.
For me, I think a lot of it is like hospitality just doesn't include like your home and like things like that. It also includes my time and my thought and like of like, what is this person? What is their likes or dislikes? Like, how can I serve them like today? Like, what is it that they need at this time? Not really. It's not just about like, I could get this done and this done and this done. And I like to just think about the other person for just a second and just get out of my headspace. So hospitality is something that I can
Wow.
serve.
That's why That's why we hang out with her, because we can learn so much from her.
What a great answer.
You know, that is beautiful. I've never thought about hospitality
Let's see if she
in
can
that
do
way.
it again. Let's see if she can do it again.
Okay, yeah, let's do it again. Do it again.
Do another one.
Do it again.
Okay.
Let's see if she can answer another one that good.
Okay, let's see. All right, here we go. Here we
Let's
go.
see.
All right.
Let's do another one.
I think we've done that one before. That's the only reason.
yeah.
That's the only reason, because we did that one before.
Okay. Let's do another one.
Okay. Here we go. You ready? Would you rather speak up like Esther or serve quietly like Martha? Now, you could almost argue with Martha that she didn't serve quietly all the time, but we're going to go with the way that the game has it. So, would you rather speak up like Esther or serve quietly like Martha? Okay, so I'm going to ask Gunnar below his answer to guess what I'm going to say based on those two options. Which one?
We know it's not going to be.
Which one?
Be quiet.
I did not. Did I tell you, the peanut gallery is alive and well today in this podcast. All right.
My guess
I
is
feel like you
down
asked
now.
for that one.
Oh, I did. And I even, okay, ready? 3, 2, 1. And I wrote down, y'all, the Holy Spirit had me write down the wrong answer.
Serve quietly.
Yeah.
And then you put Martha.
Yeah,
Okay, I
but
put
see, but
Esther.
that's not.
Well, here's my thing.
We know.
I would
That's what I mean.
prefer to serve quietly, but I can already feel my ears getting hot and my face starting to turn red.
Oh my goodness.
And so
Even your body language knew. You were just like, I know this answer.
that I'm going to speak up like Esther. But I mean, if I had my preference, I'd be like, sit there and be quiet. But
Yeah.
I can't because my blood starts boiling and my ears start getting red and my face, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I just can't.
Yeah, that's yes. I am not opposed. Again, I know people think she is so strong-willed. I am not as strong-willed as you think I am. And I tell people all the time, it is not being bossy. It is being leadership skills. All right. I have strong leadership skills. The leadership skills are strong in this one, right? Like the force. But yeah, no, I agree. I would prefer to serve quietly. But if it makes standing up, and you said, what did you say, Payton? I missed what you said.
I put serve quietly.
Serve quietly.
I'm good with either, but I think a lot of people like to see actions now, not really words, because there's a lot of people's opinions and stuff like that. And I think actions speak very loud. Yeah. And even if it's quiet, I think speaks louder than what I'm trying to say to them,
Which goes back that whole hospitality, just, leaning into putting others first. I mean, there you go.
She did it. She answered it great again.
I'm telling
Y'all are
you,
so funny.
again, she's I'm telling you, woman of grace right here. And this goes to prove.
If I go on Family Feud, I want her on my side.
Amen to that. I want her on my side. You can be our ringer. You're the one who goes whenever we're going to win the big money, and we're like getting you for the top answers at the very end.
We watch that game show a lot. We really do.
I do
love
too. Steve Harvey
funny.
cracks me up. The one that said, "What comes after pork?" And the guy goes, "Coupon," and he said, and he's like, "I'm sorry, what did you say?" And the guy goes, "Coupon," and he said, porcupine. And I mean, just like, look it up on YouTube. It is hilarious because the guy goes, coupon. And I'm going,
listen,
that was
don't
funny.
think that pork and beans, maybe. Pork. Anyway, we're not here to talk about food, although we can. We are here to get to know this beautiful lady over here. So,
sweet.
G-Man,
thank you.
kick us off with some questions.
Let's see if I can remember.
I'm delirious. It's been a long week.
If you can, I know.
Let me behave.
Here's the thing. I know that when people are watching this, they see this beautiful woman sitting beside me and they think, look at her. She is so put together.
She's
and
so cool, calm, and
she is so put together. And then they're like, did you just roll out of bed to get there today? And I'm not sure that I didn't today. I'm thinking,
well, you made it. That's okay.
I made it.
You're going to encourage somebody else.
I am
You can
encourage.
make it. You can make it.
You can make it. You can make it looking homeless, and you can make it looking put together.
All right, Gunnar, hit her with your best question.
All right, here's one of my best questions.
The question.
Here's the best I can come up with right now. We
Off
want
the
to
top of
know
your head.
your background. Did you grow up in a Christian home, and how did that look?
Before you answer that real quick, just for our audience, we were laughing before we got started because Gunnar only has 2 to 3 questions every week. They're the same, and he still has to read them off of his computer.
Yes.
So
That's really funny.
Didn't read them that time.
Oh, you didn't read them that time?
But you
Okay.
look
And
very.
I also don't think I got the full question. But,
Well, let's try it again. We'll give you another
Try
shot.
it again. Go ahead.
okay, this is just off the top of my head.
Okay. Top
We
of your
will
head.
open by discussing your history as a Christian in general. We always like for our listeners to know a little background of where you come from. Did you grow up in a Christian home as a child? And what did that look like?
Well, if anyone knows my family, I sure did. Oh, Jan and Dwayne Gross, they're a pair, let me tell you. Yes, I did. I grew up, even like what that background looks like is I had expectations and they were to be set and in a Christian and a godly way. And I hope I exceeded them to their potential, to what they needed me to. But yeah, we went to church every single day, like every Sunday. And so
Did you do church camps
yeah,
and all that?
yeah, church camps.
VBS.
Oh yeah, for sure. Grew up Church God of Prophecy, so right down the road from where Lakeside is, and all of that. So church is all I've ever known. I've never not known the Lord, and never not known, His name, and I'm very blessed and able to say that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
We're going to come back to that in just a second. We're not going to take from Gunner's time.
Sorry, Gunner.
Hey, take all the time you need. The next one is also, it's about family. You kind of did a little answer on that, but we want to know the season of life you're in now, especially you have kids.
Yeah.
How does that look?
Yeah. Mom life and wife life, hardcore. And like just full-time job too. So a lot of it is like balancing all of that. And
How old are you, Payton?
I'm 27. I had to think about that.
Okay.
I don't remember after 23, if you want me to be honest. I am 27 though.
You have to do the math real quick in your
I
head.
did.
I'm 58. I still do. I still have to do the math in my head. Yes. Yes.
I do too.
Again, back to that mom brain that you have. So
For sure. Yeah, just like I'm in a life of balancing. So, and choosing like what's priority and things like that. So like, am I spending too much time like at work? Am I spending too much time, to myself to try and recoup? Or am I spending too much time with my husband and not my kid? And, I'm preparing for the next day. Am I spending time with my family enough? Am I being involved enough? So just stuff like that. That is in the season of life I'm in. So,
How long have you been married now?
we were married in 2020. So this year will be 6 years in September.
don't
I
make her
didn't-
do math.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's crazy
2020.
because that's 6 years ago, but like I thought you like just got married like a year ago.
Yeah.
That's how it's just so
Everything runs together. Time does. Yes.
Well, since 2020, everything's been
Yeah.
whatever. Anyways, do you have a favorite book other than the Bible that you'd like to recommend?
I do. Priscilla Schreier. She it's called God is Able. That woman is a spitfire.
Oh, yes,
and
she is.
I like resonate with a lot that she says. And, because we can say more later into this, but I know God is able. And that book has helped me, in a lot of moments of doubt and a lot of moments of like, suffering and sorrow. And I know God's able.
Yes.
And he's on my side. And that book has helped me tremendously.
And she's also a mom and a wife.
Yeah.
I know she has 2 boys. I don't know if does she have 3 maybe? I'm not sure.
I think it's 2 boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so she's a great teacher, and her dad, of course, I love to listen to him also, Tony Evans. So if you ever are like, I just need something and I don't know what it is, I need to listen to something and I don't know what, she is awesome to listen to.
Yes.
And her dad, Tony Evans, is awesome too.
She's
Great
a really
teacher.
good like teacher. Yeah.
Yeah,
She's
yes.
really good like to understand.
Yeah.
She doesn't really go off cuff. Like
Right.
she
And it's very plain
yeah.
and to the point, but also passionate.
Yeah. Growing up with Church God of Prophecy, I got, I learned from a lot of like emotional, a lot of like firm teachings and things like that. And she's a very good person, like to just listen
And
to.
you can even sit down with a pen and paper and go deep with her, or you can just ride in the car and listen to her. And
For sure.
and grab hold
that
of that
book
also.
has got like notes all over. You probably couldn't read the actual page now.
So
like,
when did you start to read that book? Do you remember what time of life where you were? Were you in college or was it after college?
It was right after I graduated high school.
Wow.
So just transitioning from high school, going into college, then going into ministry, and then all of those different things, trying to wait on a husband, don't really want to, like all of those types of things, just want to rush life, and I really shouldn't. And that was one of those moments.
What was the ministry that you went into early on? What was that ministry? What did that look like?
My ministry, so I went into
probably a couple, but
it was student ministry.
Okay.
Hardcore, and then went into kids ministry and women's ministry. It's all different. All of those three it was heavily into the student, and then into kids, and heavily into women ministry. So,
and do you remember at that time when you went to that book and you started studying that book, was there something that was on your heart at that point that you were pouring out to God and saying, God, help me with this, or help me understand this timing? Was there something that you recall?
Yeah.
Because I know later on in your testimony, we're gonna see how God works in making sure that you're prepared. But anything you can remember at that point that you were thinking about God helping you with at that point?
I was into college. I am not a school person. Like, I am not a book.
You were out of your comfort zone for sure.
I was, for sure. And I really wanted to be done with school after high school. Like, I was like, this is not for me. I'm not my brother. He's a book nerd, not me. And so I was like, I really feel like God's pulling me into ministry. And so one day, like, I just dropped out of college, and I was just like, I'm going to remove myself. I feel like the Lord really wants me in ministry. And I was like, this is not how I thought my life would happen, and things like that. And I didn't know how I was going to make a way and all things. And then that's whenever the book God is Able came into my life, actually, how I mentioned, like, right after high school into college. So, yeah.
So, a personal question, how did your mom take it? Because she's a teacher, she's an educator. So how did she take that?
I remember this, like, word for word. I was in her room, and I was like, Mom, I really feel like the Lord's about to pull me out of college. Like, she said, you will always have a roof over your head. She's like, you will always have, like, we will always be here for you. And she is like, because I know ministry is hard work, and it's not what every body cracks it up to be. Right. And you're going to be challenged and things like that. She's like, but if anything ever happens, and you will always have a home, and like I will always be here, and your dad will too. Yeah. And so I knew I had, like, her in my corner.
Right. Oh, that's awesome.
Well, and I do like the way that you led into that, right?
Yeah.
I know with my mom, if I'm ever about to say something to her that I know that is a possible point of conflict, I will go to her with scripture first, and I'll be like, now, the Bible says da 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 da, and then I'll go into, and then that's a much softer like. Okay, right. And it kind of just level sets the whole conversation and all of that. Yeah. So,
well, my mom and I think we're pretty fortunate. I know a lot of my friends don't have a great, like, relationships with their mothers, but, like, I have a great relationship with my mom. And I know she knows, like, I'm not going to do anything rash.
Right.
Or, like, I'm not just off the cuff, like, doing something insane. She may have thought that at that time.
You can comment once you hear this session, Jen. Go ahead and comment on that thought there.
Yeah. But I think she knew. And now me being a mom of a little girl, like, I can see where she was coming from and all of that. I didn't at the time, but now I do.
Right.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. All right. So let's see here. What are some specific times in your life when you were like, only by God's grace? So let's get into the meat of it today.
Let's get into your story.
We want to talk a little bit about your precious miracle baby and what that looked like before she came during the waiting season. What did that look like?
That's a lot of lows. The Lord met me in a lot of valleys in that time and a lot of lows. So,
and how did you handle that?
A lot of times that was not gracefully. A lot of times that's just me, like, sobbing. That's where I would call that season of life of prayer is I was just crying. Like, there was really no words. It was just sobbing. But before I had my precious Davelin, I would say, we lost a child, like, back in August of 2021. Was not ready to have one, all the things.
You say we haven't even mentioned your
my husband Trevor.
Yes. Where did y'all meet? Let's start there. Where did y'all meet?
Church.
Okay, church. Okay.
Yeah, we met in a church at Freedom.
Okay.
Freedom Church in Gallatin, at a group like a young adults group. It was called 1820 or 1824, something like that. But
okay. And you were married how long before you started yearning for a baby, I guess, because it got to be where you were. That was, we were married. You were desperate, pretty much.
So we were married September 2020, and then we got pregnant the first time August 2021. Okay. So almost a year of marriage.
Almost a year.
Yeah. And so, And so after we had lost, didn't mean to get pregnant or anything, was not trying. So after that, I was like at a sure loss. I did not expect it that I wanted one that bad, if that makes sense. I always knew I would. But I never expected like that deep longing as much as I did. Yes. And so after that, like we just wanted to heal for a little bit. And then once we wanted to start trying, like nothing was happening. Everybody else was getting pregnant at the time.
This was at a season in your life where all of your friends, they were coming to you and saying, hey, come to my baby shower. And
I would say that was very stressful, very defeating, I would say, in that season. So a lot of my friends that were very close, I threw them a baby shower, and that was almost just a little, I was like even more saddening because, you're planning and you're buying things
and you want to be happy for everybody else.
Yeah. And I would tell a lot of them, I was like, they were like, be honest with me. Like, how happy are you like with me? And I was like, I'm 60% happy and 40% really upset.
Right.
Because, I want to experience this with you and not just, things like that.
Right.
So,
And that's a very human, I think, Payton, that's a very human response. Right. And if they weren't your friends, they would have walked away and said, how dare you, right? Because it's all about me. But I think they were also picking up that this was something you were doing out of sheer love for them and unselfishness for them, because you wanted them to be happy, because you wanted to be a part of that. But at the same time, you're human and you're trying to not ask the question constantly, but needing to ask the question constantly.
For sure. And that specific friend, she was so sweet. She immediately prayed with me after. Aww. She's like such a blessing in my life. But so just each baby shower I would go to or I would throw, like that is one, that is something that the Lord had to like for real pull me through. And like I knew one day I would have one.
Yes.
And so what was your relationship like with the Lord during this time? Was it like a roller coaster? Like some days you're like, okay, God, I know that you're going to do this and I believe in you. And then other days, why me, God? Or, or were you always did you always stand firm and know?
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's a little bit of all of those together. It's like in the moments of like weakness, I would like be like, why, Lord? But also I was like, I know he is for me and I know he knows my deepest desire and I know he knows my heart. And especially like, I never did drugs. Like I never partied. Like I went through the book, like saved ourselves from marriage, like all the things you could check off as a Christian or things like that. I was like, what in the world? And a lot of people get pregnant out of wedlock, or a lot of people get pregnant from different situations. And that's where I really didn't understand at the time. And that is something that really had to resonate with me, that I am set apart and I am different. And this is something that the Lord, like he chose this story in this life for me specifically, because I know in Jeremiah, he had a scripture where he says like, I know you.
Yes.
Like, I know you in your mother's womb and all the things. And so I was just like, all right, like I know. So,
and talk about you and Trevor at that point, because that was something that could have added some stress on the marriage for both of you, for him trying to be the protector, the provider, and not being able to fix this, right? He couldn't make this all be okay. So how did that work with you two during this time?
I would say a lot of that. My husband, He's very different. So he is very like quiet, if that makes sense. He's not from what I'm used to, like my dad. Like my dad is like, he will tell me straight up how he feels and all things. Trevor is not like that. Like a lot of times I have to dig stuff out of Trevor. Like I have to dig it out, or, you know, I'll go around and be like, is this how you feel? You know, things like that. And so Trevor is very much like we mentioned earlier, like a quiet server. Mm-hmm. He is very much like he had my back. Yes. Like he would be sad and things like that. And, you know, he like wouldn't understand either. But I think a lot of times like he was my strength in other things and I was his strength in faith. And so like a lot of times, like, you know, he was like, are you going back to therapy? Are you going here? Like, you know, things like that. Like he was going to make sure I was good. Yes. And so, you know, that's what our marriage may have struggled in certain areas, but I think like as a whole, he really did. He was like a strength in that area.
Because you were still newlyweds. This is still early on.
For sure.
Yeah. So it's a lot of stress for a new couple.
Yeah. It sure was. Yeah, for sure.
Yes, it was.
Yes.
Thank you. That's a good summary.
So, you know, what would you say to somebody who's listening? And it might not be that they're waiting for a child, but they're in the waiting period.
Yeah.
And, you know, you can hear people tell you, you know, just when you've done all you can do, just stand. Just stand in the word.
Yeah.
You know, what would you say to them just to encourage them? Like, what worked for you?
Yeah. For me,
and it might have been something different every day.
Yeah,
I don't
know. Yeah. That's a good question.
You know, how do you tell somebody it's going to be okay when you don't know?
Yeah. Well, this is the first thing that comes to my mind. And my therapist told me, she's like, if you don't hold the hope anymore, like I'll hold it for you. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like I didn't think someone was so sweet like that. So, you know, I think having someone in your corner, whether that's a therapist or a friend or someone in your family, like I think having someone, and I knew I had people praying for me. Yes. Like I am not going to tell everybody my whole story. Like typically, like I'm not tell someone I'm struggling in that moment. But I knew people that were praying for me. And I think knowing that, you know, really helped me in that. In the waiting period.
And those who are listening and you're hearing Payton's story so much from the Spirit is just like hitting my heart in your story. And
because we got to watch it.
We got to watch it. We were a part of this journey. But you know, I love the fact that that it goes back to, and I love what she said, right? If you lose hope, I'll hold on to that hope till you get it back. And sometimes when you're with someone who's struggling, like Jennifer said, what can you say to them? Sometimes it's not what you say, it's what you do. Yeah. And if you can just hold their hand and just say, hey, I'm here for whatever you need. And, you know, I'm not going to tell you how to fix it because I don't know how to fix it other than let's look at what God says. But I will hold on to that hope for you. I will continue that for you when you can't do that anymore. And I think about Moses and when they were fighting and he had, I think it was Joshua, and I can't remember the other guy that helped him hold up his arms. And when his arms would drop, the Israelites would they would start losing the battle. And then when he'd raise his arms back up again, they would start to win the battle. And he had to rely on his friends too, to kind of help him in those weak moments to say, I got your back.
And also I think it's important to remember, and for lack of better words, this is not a good word, but that it's okay to vomit everything out for God.
Yes.
That we don't have to put everything in pretty words and, you know, a poem for him. That's the Holy Spirit that he wants as the comforter, that if we didn't need comforting, he wouldn't be here with us. So I think that it's a good reminder also that when we're in the times of waiting and when we're in the times of why is this happening for everybody else and not for me? And I think everybody goes through that in one way or the other. I don't think there's any yearning out there like the yearning to be a mother. Yeah. You know, I don't think there is. You know, you might want to be a wife, you might want to be a husband, but I think there's no yearning out there like wanting to be a mother. Right, I know when I wanted to become pregnant, that's all I thought about. And it's like every voice in your head.
Yes.
And, you know, and I didn't have trouble, but I was like talking to my husband. I was like, okay, you know, and trying to talk him into it. And I was like, that's, you know, I would just remember that's every thought that's in your mind. And so for years, that was every thought that was in your mind. And so I think it's just important for our listeners to remember that it's okay just to give that, just to throw it all out there to God, whether it's the good day where, thank you, God, I believe, I have my faith is high today.
Yeah.
And then even when you wake up tomorrow, don't condemn yourself if your faith is not that high and you're like, okay, God, I woke up mad this morning about it.
And I'll say from a standpoint of warfare, just know that when you're in that moment of waiting, that's the enemy is primed because he's like, oh yeah, I'm just waiting for that doubt, because as soon as that doubt comes in, I can step in. And even if you don't know what to do in that time of waiting and you're so frustrated, still take it to God. Still keep God in your life, in your conversation, in your prayers. And it's okay to say, God, I am frustrated about this. God, I'm heartbroken about this. God, and just keep leaning on the Lord and keeping that part in first and foremost, and just he will answer. God is able.
He is. Yeah.
And thank you for answering. These are pretty personal questions.
No, you're good.
So, okay, go ahead with what you're
totally
going to say.
Fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Just like a couple, just like more examples, like just a lot of times whenever I felt so much doubt, I would just go to like Marshall's or wherever and just get a baby outfit. Like, listen, my kid had a whole wardrobe before she's even thought about, like, I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
And so, just things like that. And,
just to show that you still have the faith.
Yes. 'Cause I'm an actions person.
Yes.
Like, I'm going to show the Lord, like, I have faith that this is going to happen. And just like each baby shower gift I would get for the next person, like that was just an action of like my faithfulness towards the Lord, like something that I wanted to show him, that I'm willing to do and willing to go through. And I've never learned like such a deeper connection with the Lord, in this season. And like, I knew, I was like, Lord, I just want a deeper connection. That's something only you can get me through. Like, I'm sure that birth is going to be like the hardest thing I'll go through. Like, that is something only you and I can go through. Like there's only so much, my mom can help me with, or my husband, or a friend. Like, they can pray for me all day long and they can be there for me all day long. The person that's going to get me through is the Lord. And that's a deep connection that no one can go through but me and him. And that's something I wanted to do.
What do you feel your breakthrough was? I mean, did you just wake up one morning and you're like, I feel like I'm pregnant, or did you have a specific person pray for you and you're like, okay, I believe that this is it? What did that look like?
Well,
personal question. Sorry.
No, you're good. Mine was, I was in denial. I was like, my friend Jess, I was like, I just feel weird today. And so I was like, it doesn't feel like normal girl time of the month things. I was like, this feels different. And she just kind of looked at me and I was just like, I don't know what to do. So anyway, she was actually, I did not want to look at another negative pregnancy test.
That's what I was say. Were you scared to get your hopes up?
Yeah. I was like, I would rather walk on a mile of Legos, like barefoot, than see another negative test. Like
the mile of Legos. That is true mama talk right there.
I was like, I would never, if I never saw a negative pregnancy test again, it would be too soon. And so, my friend Jess, she's like, let's just look at it. Let's just try. And I was like, okay. So it was actually on a Friday. It's so funny. It was actually on a Friday since today's Friday. And she was just saying like, I was like, Jess, I can't look at another one. Like, can you just go look? And so I didn't tell my husband I was taking one. This was just after work. We went to Walmart, went back to work. It was so funny. And so she was just like, okay, let me go see. And then she went into the restroom and I didn't hear her for a second. I was like, Jess, just throw it away. I just thought she was trying to be nice. I walked in and she's sobbing.
Oh, how fun for her to get to be the one to know first.
I know. She was just sobbing and then I was sobbing. And so anyway, the rest is history.
Oh my goodness. It just, and during that time when Jennifer said, we were with Payton through through this time.
Through the later part of it.
Through the later part with Daylin. And, Payton is also the one who was instrumental in getting us started with the ministry there at the detention center. Yeah. And I remember that Saturday, Jennifer said, hey, come with me. We're going to go. Here's my friend India. They're going to do just a little, devotional, and then she'll talk about some ministry opportunities. And then you got up, and I'm like, oh my goodness, that is, I can't believe, my goodness, that child has grown up. I was just so flabbergasted. And then, you started to share about the detention center ministry, and it just, Jennifer, I've talked about this before on the show, but it hit my heart. It hit her heart. We didn't talk about it until after it was over, and we're like, did you hear anything? It was always like, did you hear anything? You wanted to go? Wink, wink, nod, nod. Let's go to the detention center. But both of us were just committed right then and there because of the work that you did there. And that, while you were not a mother by blood, I think that you were a mother and a spiritual mother and a spiritual guide for them, which is beautiful because you're a lot closer to their age than I am.
They
and so
her.
they love Payton to death.
They all want Payton to pray for them.
Yes.
They all want Payton.
They want Payton, come talk to me. Can Payton come back? When's Payton coming back to talk to the detention center? It's all about Pay. Come on, when's she coming back? But I will tell you that during that time that when she would come into the detention center for the worship service, that baby would just get so active. I mean, she would just be like, I am feeling it now. And those girls were just fascinated by the fact that she would respond so much to them. And I think that made a very special connection to those young women who were there at that time, to feel, a part of that, a part of that walk. And I think it had a huge impact on an influence on their life without you even realizing it.
Yeah, I really didn't. I just thought they thought that this pregnant girl was crazy.
They were, they just, again, it was just something where
sweet,
you were always on their mind, and that baby, and again, we didn't know at that point, we didn't know boy or girl at that point, but they knew that baby loved them, and they knew that it was because of God that baby loved them. And so that I think she was having influence before she even
for sure as a spiritual mother too. Before she was even a mother too.
Yes, exactly.
Let me ask you this: after you found out you were pregnant, was it smooth sailing from then on out?
I would say for the most part. Okay. I think there was still a lot of struggles that hit and a lot of unexpected. Right. I really think the enemy tried to get me down. Yes. I just recently talked about I feel like, the story David and Goliath, I had a lot of Goliaths in this path. So a lot of times, I had the test where it could tell me the gender and things like that. And a lot of disabilities it could have. These crazy tests that could tell me a lot. Yes. They told me her legs may not form correctly. And I was like, what?
I'm sorry.
What do you mean? No one has this in my family. This doesn't make any sense. And so, that kind of hit me at a halt. And I was just I just won this big battle of finally getting pregnant and all of the things. And so then I was just well, what else could happen during this? And so I was really scared. But then I remember God is able. And so and God knew my story before I was born, and I knew that he knew what he was going to do. Yes. And so that's another thing I had to think of is Lord, if this is what you have for me, then so be it.
Yes.
Do you regret having the test?
Honestly, yes, but I probably won't do it for my next that I have, but eventually, but I don't know.
But again, it may have told you specifically what to pray for.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely could have.
I could see it going both ways.
For sure.
You're going to love the baby regardless.
But there was such, and I don't want our listeners to miss what what Payton shared is that there was full surrender to God at that point. It was full submission to God. It is your will. It is your will that I'm leaning into.
You had trusted him too long to give up.
I trusted him too long, gone through too many battles with him.
Why stop now? That's right. Why stop now?
Why stop now, God? And and again, I love that. And I remember when you would message us and you would say, I don't think I can make it today to the detention center. I don't think I can make it today. And we're like, it's good. We got you. And then then I turn around and here you come walking up, right? And I think that faithfulness and you just continuing to say, God's got me in this and I am fully surrendering my life, everything to him, and I'm going to trust in him with everything. And that's beautiful faith.
That's all he wants for me, and from anyone in like a struggling season.
What a testimony, though. What a testimony to have at such a young age. Oh my goodness.
Well, I had to surrender the whole time. That whole season, as we've been mentioning, has been just surrenderance. Like, I had to be like, all right, Lord, if you want me to adopt, like, I'll adopt. Is it my first choice? No, but I will. Like, sit a kid in front of me, let the path be yours, and like, get me going. Like, let's go. I'll do it tomorrow.
Right.
And then like, he's just like, well, what if it's surrogacy? Well, I don't know if I trust someone that much to hold my baby, but if that's your will, so be it.
Yes.
And then this one hit me the most, I think. He's like, what if you don't have one at all? Like, what if adoption doesn't go right? What if surrogacy is not an option? Like, am I enough? And like, he is. And that's where I think, as we mentioned earlier, Jennifer, I think that was my breaking point and like my breakthrough of like, I missed so much that like, God, give me this. Lord, bless me with this. Like, give me my only desire in life. And like, he's my only desire in life. And that's where he really drew me back to like this part of like surrenderance. Like, even if this does not happen and this is not in your will and this is not what you want from me and my husband, like, so be it. Like, that was a hard pill to swallow. Like, that was very hard to surrender, but I would never change that.
Did you feel relief after that surrender, or did you feel on edge like, I'm going to surrender it and then take it back and surrender it and take it back?
No, like I
Did
let
you feel
that
peace
be.
at that point?
Yeah, I felt complete peace. I think it was something that I was like setting aside for a while, kind of like, how am I going to teach kids and, hopefully eventually my child or, anyone around me that I love the Lord. Like, what is my backup? Right. Like, my surrender is my backup. And that is what I will tell anyone, like, I love the Lord enough to where I will lay my deepest desire down because, that's what God gave me, his one and only son. And so I will give mine as well if he gave me one.
Oh my goodness.
I'm telling y'all.
I'm so sorry.
Y'all need to preach.
Turn on the
this
Holy Ghost
one.
music. Let's get going here.
Saying, I am so led. Proverbs 3, 5 and 6 is just. It's just, I've got this hanging up on a plaque in my hallway. It's a verse that I just love and I lean on. But trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend on your own understanding. Seek His will in all you do, and He will show you which path to take. And I think that so often we believe that God will show us the path, but we're the ones that have the Google map out and going, but which way's quicker, right? Let me see which way's going to have, which way's going to have the roadblocks or the police barricades or what, how am I going to get there quicker? And, trust in the Lord with all your heart. The Bible talks about that your heart, do not trust your heart. Do not listen to your heart, basically, because it says the heart is full of doubt and it's full of insecurities and it's full of flesh and desires and things like that. And then he says in Proverbs, but if you trust in the Lord, and you put the Lord first with your heart and you put all of that, lean on His understanding. And that verse just leapt to mind while you were talking.
Yeah.
So all of the hard prayers.
Yes.
And then you're in the bathroom, your friend's crying, you go
Oh my
in.
goodness.
Yeah.
So what did that look like when you told your husband and your parents?
Okay. Listen, this is so funny. This is actually a really funny story.
Because I know as a parent, you're praying hard. They're praying harder.
For
Yes.
sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah.
Like 100%. For first Trevor. So my friend Jess and I, we were just like, I really want to tell Trevor today, but I really want someone to video it. Can you like stay with me today? Because she has a kid of her own. And so I was like, please. And so she's like, yeah. So I went to Walmart immediately and got like a few baby things and put it in a box. And I told Trevor, I was like, hey, like, can you come with me and Jess to, I don't know, Texas Roadhouse. We went to Texas Roadhouse. I don't know why I said it. But I was like, let's just have like lunch. I was trying to play it off so well. And bless his heart, he went right along with it. And so he came to the parking lot of Texas Roadhouse. And then immediately I was like, I don't want to make it obvious. I felt like if he sees a box, he's gonna like know. Right. And so I put it in Jess's car and I was just like, hey, like me and Jess got something today. Like Jess found out something. I wanted to show you what she found out. And then
Did he know at this point? No idea. Okay.
I have it on video and everything. I was like, I don't want to forget this moment. But I turned it around and he was like speechless. He's like, are you for real? And I was like, yes. Like, you know, he was like breaking down all the things. And so the rest is history there. We just had some good old steak. Listen.
Some good old steak. That's right. Because at that point, your mama, you were feeding that little one.
Yeah.
You know, and I love, again, I love when daddies first see their babies, right? Because mama's experiencing that, right? And they can start to feel like they're a part of the pregnancy when the baby starts moving, and you know, so they can be a part. But when they actually get to put their hands on that baby, tell me about Davelyn and Trevor now, and then go back to your mom and daddy's reaction, because I need to hear that too.
Trevor is obsessed. Like I did
They've
not
already
know.
taken this child to Disney World. Is that where you went, Disney World?
A couple times.
Yeah. And how old is she now?
She's 15 months.
Okay, 15 months. I know I've seen several pictures with Disney ears.
And she's such a beautiful combination of both of you.
Yeah.
Like you can see both you and Trevor. It's like this perfect little baby, this little sweet baby face
beautiful.
that y'all so he's totally obsessed, and I bet she is totally obsessed with her daddy.
For sure. I did not I knew he'd be a good dad. Like there was no question about it for me, but I never knew like how good he would be at it. Like watching it, like I'm more in love. Like I never thought I could love Trevor more, and I was mistaken.
And I would say that he probably had the same. I never thought I could love her more.
Yeah.
And yet that baby brought that together.
Yeah.
Such a powerful connection. So tell about your mom and dad.
Well, believe it or not, I waited 24 hours before I told them. I don't know how I did it. My mom was actually shocked. I was actually going to wait for some reason the next day. I don't know why. But it was actually around this time of year when I found out, because like all of Mother's Day stuff was out. So me and Trevor, after we went to Texas Roadhouse, I got a mom mug, and I was like, I finally get to buy one. And so like all the Mother's Day out stuff was already out like a month before, and I was just like, yay. And so my mom's like, why did you go to Marshall's? No reason. And so
nosy.
Like, yeah, she nosy. And so she knows, like, I feel like she knows. And so she just knows by my reactions, because I always get sad around that time, you know, like it may not happen this month. She's like, you're very cheery. And I'm like, shh, stop, mom. But, I don't know. Something just told me and Trevor, I was like, hey, Trevor, can you go get like the box? Like we were at the house and we were about to leave and go back home. And this was like the day after I told Trevor. And so then I was like, hey, like go and get the box. And so like of the baby stuff in it. Right. And so as Trevor was going to go get it. And then once he came back, I was like, you know, I like made like the pregnancy like form over my belly, and my dad was like, "What?" I was like, "I'm pregnant," and then oh my gosh, waterworks. Like, listen, get Dwayne crying when he talks about his granddaughter.
That's right.
Like,
That's
he
right.
is smitten. And my mom was crying. Like, we were all crying and all the things. So here we are. And then here comes my grandmother, Mama, walking out.
Yes.
Are you pregnant? And like, she's like, I figured,
So
you
I
know.
remember at the baby shower that there was one gift, and I think it took a U-Haul to bring the package in, and everything in it was embroidered and monogrammed with Davelin, and that was your
Mama,
grandmother,
yeah.
right?
That was.
She had, it's like, here's a onesie with from UT, and but everything was just so perfect and so beautiful, and you could just, I think twofold, right? I think that number one, her overwhelming joy for a great grandbaby, and your great grandbaby, but then also I think just bringing bringing him into it as well, and bringing that honor and that respect. I think that had just such a special place in her heart as well. You know?
She feels a little special. Our anniversary's on her birthday. Like, I told her, I was like, I need our wedding date this day. Is that okay? It's on your birthday. She's like, well, if I pass away, you'll remember my birthday. And I'm like, Mama, she's a mess. Listen.
She is.
And so then she was very excited to hear, our choice of name. And I was like, it's so different.
It's beautiful. So now we have our precious little angel.
Yes.
And so what does your life look like now what is your quiet, as a mother, as a wife, you work still outside of the home. What does your quiet time with the Lord look like, and how does that work for you right now at this season?
What quiet is I'm washing the dishes. Like, if you want me to be honest, my quiet time with the Lord is like getting stuff ready. Right. And like, I know that sounds crazy. And a lot of times it's in the car too. Like, I'll turn music off. Right. Like, she's already dropped off at daycare. Like, it may not look like I'm sitting like legit still, but like, I will sit and drive and just like
have a conversation.
For sure.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of times that's dishes too. Yeah. Like, while I'm doing the dishes, or while I'm getting her daycare bag ready, or, but a lot of times that's like rejoice too. Yes. Like, a lot of times I feel like I'm just doing chores, or like I'm just doing the same thing over and over again. And, like, this is so hard as a full-time job, like with a full-time job and everything. But I'm like, I'm rejoicing because this is like a gift that only God can give me. Yes. And like, I would rather have really hard days and like full days and full nights. This child has finally blessed me with full nights of sleep, like about 2 weeks ago.
Oh my goodness.
Like, even like before, people are like, you haven't slept since newborn? No, I haven't slept since 7 months pregnancy, because I had to get up and go to the restroom like five times a night. Yeah. Like, it doesn't start off at newborn. It starts before then. So she finally let me sleep.
Yeah.
and when that happened, I remember the first time, that you had that first full night of sleep, and boy, you jump up like, did I miss something? What is it? And you're automatically running into, and they're like, they're sound asleep, and you're like, what just happened here? Did I really get that amount of sleep? I would tell people I'll sleep when I'm dead, I guess, because I don't remember a lot of sleep when Christopher was little.
My mother-in-law hated it that we let our kids sleep in the bed with us. I was like, listen, we will sleep in the bathtub if that's what we have to do to get
outside in the bathtub, whatever that looks like.
I don't care. We will sleep wherever we have, wherever we can sleep. And then, real quick, I don't want to keep you too long today.
Oh, you're good.
But talk to us just a little bit about what the ministry at the detention center and the foster girls. How did that change you, or what do you feel like you learned from that?
Yeah, like before, like Davelin, or after, or before. Okay.
Either. I'm just kind of switching gears real quick. I know you've got a family at home you've got to get to, but I also know that you spent a lot of time in ministry there, and now you're coming back into it. And so, what does that mean? How, not prideful, but how does that make you feel to know that you are making an impact in the lives of these girls?
That's a great question, Jennifer. I don't know. I feel very honored. Like, me of all people, like, get to go and like just be for the girls, like be there, because they probably don't really have like a woman figure like in their life, or that woman figure of like a mother or grandmother is like the only figure in their life. And I don't want them to see me as like, or anyone as like a replacement or someone that's trying to like just be all preachy towards them. It's just to be a constant in their life. And if that's like a couple times a month, then I'm willing to be that. It's just like really willing to be whatever like they need in that moment.
Yes.
And a lot of times I think that people that are on the outside listening in when we talk about it, they're like, I couldn't do that, or, I don't think I can do that. I don't want to pray. I don't want to. And really, it's just about showing up.
For sure.
It is. It's about that consistency. One of the ladies that Jennifer asked to come, one of the ladies from Strong Tower, Tammy, she told me coming back from Saturday that she never quite knows what she's going to do when she gets there, but there's always that one young girl that looks very closed off and very shut off, and she said, and I'll just go over to her and I'll say, can I pray with you? Can I sit with you? And she said, and it always just opens my heart because that's the one that says, if you want to. And, the last time Payton was there and she shared the story about David and Goliath, and you shared the story about the Goliath that you constantly, is this my new Goliath? God, okay, God. And you talked about the full surrender. And one of the young ladies there that was really, really struggling with her walk with Christ, that, I feel like I'm trying, but I can't get my past out of my mind. And I remember you just sitting there and just pouring into her that surrender and that need to surrender, and just watching her start to process that in a way that I don't think she thought that she ever occurred to her that might be what was stopping her from having that breakthrough with God. That it's that surrender and being able to give it all to Him.
And I think a lot of what you have to go in and just saying like meeting them where they're at.
Yes.
Like that's how like the Lord is with me, is like meeting me where I'm at. And I think the same will go a long way for them. Like if I go in and see where they are, and just kind of like approach them or answer their questions to what they need in that moment and what aligns with the Lord, like that's what is set apart and different from other, groups that go in there. And that's what they tell us. They're just like, y'all are just so different than like someone, I know they said about Delane, they're like, she's so different, and like, just things like that. I just think, I would say meeting them where they're at is a big difference.
And so you've done quite a bit of ministry.
Yeah.
To be so young. So what would you tell your 18-year-old self when you're like, okay, what am I going to do? And you're stressing about your future. What would you tell yourself?
And I love that you only went back to 18 because it's not like she's got a lot of years to go back to, right? Because she's still just a pup. Just a pup.
16, she's getting her driver's license.
She's
not even thinking about her future yet. But
18, that's a good one. Yes.
Yeah, I'd say buckle up. Like, let's go. But no, I would probably say to my 18-year-old self, like,
because you've made a lot of difference in a lot of girls' lives.
You're sweet.
Yes, Thank you. I mean, that's honestly.
I would just say it's not going to be the way you think it is. Like, you may have an idea or anything like that, but your life is not your own anymore. Like when I decided to be a Christian and I decided to, live the way that the Lord wanted me to live, like it's not gonna what I'm gonna think it's gonna look like. And I think my 18-year-old self would be like, well, here we go.
Here we go. Hold on. If y'all can't read her hat says y'all need Jesus. And absolutely we all need Jesus. But I think that is something that sometimes, when people say, really is my testimony enough? When I grew up in the church and I grew up going to vacation Bible school and church camps, and both my parents are godly and my grandparents are godly and my aunt is godly and everybody I'm with is godly. Is that enough? But I think that you're also testifying, just like we've had to testify, that we're not walking this walk with God because of anything that our family did for us. We had to choose to surrender. We had to choose to put Him first, to lay it all down at His feet.
Sometimes.
And that's daily. That's daily.
Sure.
We have to continue to do that. And that what a sweet and just humble testimony that is. So
thank you for coming, and we're definitely going to have you come back.
Y'all are so sweet.
Would you just say a prayer over our listeners who might be in the waiting right now for whatever that is that this season looks like to them, not to give up, that God is going to come through in the way that He wants to come through?
Yes.
Would you just say a prayer? Okay, thank you.
Lord, I just come with complete surrenderance. Like, I thank you for even like the struggles that I've been through. God, I thank you for the paths that you have created. Jesus, I just pray for others like me or others in different scenarios like me, Jesus, that you show up for them. Whatever that looks like, Lord, even if it's not what they think it should be, even if it's not what they dreamed of it to be, Lord, I pray that you just guide, God, and protect and comfort the only way that you know how. Jesus, I pray that you have someone in their corner, Lord. I pray that they see you in a different way that only you can come up with, Jesus. And Lord, I pray that your undying love, Lord, will just rapture and just capture them in that moment. And Jesus, in the moments of doubt and in the moments of being fearful, God, I pray that you just come in like no other and just completely warp them in your love, Jesus. God, I thank you again for just having these amazing group of men and women, Lord, and I thank you for just your love and comfort. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Okay. Was there anything in your notes that you wanted to touch on or that you wanted to share with our fabulous audience that we did not touch on? Because you have spent moments
you're totally
of your
good.
precious time writing that out.
No, you're good. I just had I was just going to answer any type of question that you had that to prepare for. Y'all had some really good questions.
We went personal today.
We
Yes.
did.
We went personal.
We took a little different tone today.
We did. We went personal.
So
Listen, we could talk about this all night. I feel like it could have just went on and on.
well, because we know that Nani is in complete heaven right now,
She
and that
is.
Dablin is like being completely taken care of. And Trevor, you said was
he is reffing a football game tonight, a scrimmage game. So he's in hog heaven too.
Yes. Well, again, we are it is just a blessing, has been a blessing in our lives. I don't know where you were in high school for us to not have made that connection with you then. But I am so grateful for that connection, now.
And if you're listening today and you're not in the waiting season, you know somebody who is. So please share this testimony. It is such a beautiful testimony. And I know that there are many people out there that it's going to help and help heal and help to grow their faith. So if you are not in particular in the waiting season right now, you have a friend or a family member who is.
That's
so please like and share.
That's right.
And we will see you guys next week. I think we're going to wrap it up.
All right. See y'all. Bye. All right. So.
Oh, yeah, we do. Okay. Or Gunnar will get a picture of us doing this.